Hello, my fellow handicappers. This is Weekend Handicapper from weekendhandicapper.com. In this video, we're going to provide picks and analysis for the 2021 Haskell Stakes at Monmouth Park, a race that is a win-in-your-in race to the Breeders' Cup Classic. So you might be witnessing a Breeders' Cup Classic winner here in the Haskell Stakes at Monmouth Park. Before we get to the horse-by-horse analysis and how I'm going to bet the race, I'm going to give a shout-out. You know, it was around Derby time, I guess about 2 months ago, somewhere around there. I was watching YouTube. I don't really watch TV that often, hardly at all. But when I do, I don't have cable, so I just watch YouTube. And I saw this new handicapping channel, or new to me anyway. This guy on there, I said, oh, hold on now, we got a new kid on the block here. Talking about handicapping and horse racing. He had this nice music going on, and I'm a musician, so that kind of hooked me right off the bat. I said, all right, now I might pick up what this guy's laying down. So I started watching his videos, and the channel's called Speed King. Speed King. And it was just obvious this guy loves horse racing, loves handicapping, and he's enthusiastic about the sport, trying to grow interest in the sport. I enjoy his videos. And if you hadn't checked out the Speed King channel, check him out. He's doing good things over there at the Speed King channel, creating the Speed Kingdom, as I like to say. And he's got great swag and merch here. And buy that man a coffee, So like I said, I'm a musician. So all my life, some of my most favorite musicians and influences, that's right, I said that right, is from New Jersey. So there was three of my biggest musical influences. One, chairman of the board, Frank Sinatra. Two, John Bon Jovi. Growing up, when I did, that was one of the top bands around, so I love John Bon. And three, the Boss. The Boss is probably my biggest, him and Prince, my biggest musical influences. I got this in Asbury Park, New Jersey, about 3 or 4 years ago. And it's kind of wild on the boardwalk there. I met this lady, and she bought my way in. We hung out pretty much most of the day, and we went to there was some pinball museum or something like that on the boardwalk. She paid my way in there. We had a good time in that pinball museum. Went to Oceanport, New Jersey. I think it's called Seaside, New Jersey, where this man wrote Born to Run, Thunder Road, in this little blue house up there. But anyway, I got this up there in Asbury Park. New Jersey is wonderful. You all, if you're from New Jersey, at least the parts I went to, you're nice as just as anybody down south here. And beautiful country too. It was pretty, especially around Monmouth Park. It was pretty. Anyway, I keep this by me when I handicap, when I bet races. And if I bet a race that's 9 to 5 or less, bet on a favorite, and it doesn't win, this is the look the boss gives you right here. And I should get that look. Very disappointed in me. And it's like, shame on you. Shame on you, Weekend, for betting horses at that low odds and they don't win. And so that came straight from Asbury Park. So the reason I'm talking about people from New Jersey is on Mount Rushmore, I always had Frank Sinatra, John Bon Jovi, and Bruce Springsteen. But now I'm gonna put a fourth one on there, and that's New Jersey's own Speed King. Let's put him on that Mount Rushmore and let's support his channel, all right? Check his channel out. All right, let's go. Field of 7 here in the Haskell Stakes of 2021. Going a mile and 1/8 on the dirt. Now, a couple things to keep in mind is this race has been known to be won by horses that are favorites, low price horses. So don't turn your 2 weeks notice in on Friday, because you're probably, even if you win this race, you're gonna have to go to work on Monday, all right? Another thing is, usually on the front end wins or near the front end. So be looking for speed horses or horses right off the front. You're going to put yourself in good shape, at least cash a ticket to win it. Now, how much money you make, I don't know in this year's Haskell, but favorites do well, low price horses do well, early speed horses or horses right off the front do well. Be looking for those, and you'll probably cash your ticket in this year's Haskell. Number one, following C, 3-1 morning line. We got a new shooter. Thing just won very impressively. He did at Belmont in an allowance race, And you got some good connections. Joel Rosario, you got Todd Pledger. This is one of those speed horses. Don't have much speed in here. This is one of those speed horses. Now, the thing is, with 1 1/8 miles, this horse has been racing in sprints. So I'm going to take a stand against this horse, at least in the win position, because I'm not sold that he can get the distance. Number one following seed, but definitely use him underneath in your exactas. The rail, drawing the rail, inside post. I think that's going to be an advantage for this horse. Joel Rosario does well getting his horses out to the early lead. So this horse got a lot going for it, but that distance might be too much for this horse, especially at 3-1. I'd be a little cautious about putting a win bet on this because he's facing some good horses in here, and we're getting ready to talk about it. Number 2, Anti-Gravity, 30-1. Jerry Hollendorfer. Hey, a long time since I heard that name. When I did hear his name, it wasn't for good reasons. And so he shows up here with number 2, Anti-Gravity, stepping up big time here, rolling with the big dogs in this race. Anti-Gravity, no thanks, pass. Number 3, Mandaloon. If you watched my Kentucky Derby video, this is my long shot, and we'll see how all that plays out. But lost to Medina Spirit, of course, in the Kentucky Derby. The last time it raced here at Monmouth Park, very unimpressive. So 2-1 after that performance, no thanks there. There's one thing to bet Mandaloon at 27-1. There's another thing to bet it at 2-1, especially at that unimpressive last performance. So I'm going to take a play against old Mandaloon. No hard feelings, Mandaloon, but what? Not today. Not today. Number 4, Hot Rod Charlie, 6-5 morning line. I know we had all kinds of defections and people passing up the Haskell and stuff. I was excited because I was going to bet Hot Rod Charlie. Then this morning line comes out, and for good reason. This is the horse to beat in this year's Haskell. Hot Rod brings it every time. Every single time Hot Rod brings it. And I think he finally got the feel that he can prevail in here with this year's Haskell. It's his race to lose. As long as that second place finish, second to Essential Quality, and the Belmont Stakes didn't take too much out of him, definitely this is the one to beat here. The race, the pace of the race should shape up well for Hot Rod, but 6-5. If I bet Hot Rod Charlie, even if it won, Bruce is going to be looking at me like that. All right, number 5, picking time. Now, bear with me, y'all. 20-1, morning line. It's not much to go on. Well, he's got plenty of races to go on. If I'm trying to find a long shot, it's this one in this race, and here's why. It showed some signs of some early speed in its career. It might be able to hang on for second, third, or fourth. So this is to me, if you're trying to bulk up, if Hot Rod's going to win, or some of these other low price sources going to win, this might be a way to try to boost up your profits in this race. Number 5, picking time, 20-1 morning line. It's been working out well. It's certainly in over its head. So I don't think this horse has any shot at winning. But if for some reason it can get out front with that early pace, with that early, be amongst the early speed horses and hang on for second, third, or fourth, I think that's smart at 20-1 to build your ticket around this horse picking time. If you're trying to find a long shot in this race, and it's very, very tough to do, a legitimate long shot. And even this one I wouldn't consider legitimate. I'm just trying to get very creative, and hopefully this horse can finish second, third, or fourth and beef up those vertical exotics. Number 6, Midnight Bourbon. I've been a fan of Midnight Bourbon. Yeah, I've tried to beat Midnight Bourbon plenty of times. I've, had losing tickets because I bet on Midnight Bourbon plenty of times. Or I would say plenty of times, a few times. But he has the right running style, early speed horse. Got Paco Lopez, who's known for loves the gun out there on the front end. So he's got a jockey that does well with early speed horses. This horse is always consistent. And another thing, this horse pretty much, entire career has ran nothing but route races. So the distance is not an issue for Midnight Bourbon. That shouldn't be a factor at all. The early speed of Midnight Bourbon is a positive. 9-2. Hey, if it goes down to 7-2, 7-2 or higher, I think this is the value of the race. Midnight Bourbon. We got to beat Hot Rod Charlie. Probably got to beat Mandaloon. Maybe this number 1 Following C. But Midnight Bourbon has the right running style. It's got a jockey that knows how to get his horses out to the front end. Steve Asmussen, enough said there. And the routes. This horse loves the route races. So that might be the value there. Number 6, Midnight Bourbon. And number 7, Beso, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's a closer. This race isn't going to set up for a closer. Doesn't look like there's that much speed. And those early speed horses are legit horses. Midnight Bourbon, Hot Rod Charlie, this Following C probably. So I don't see this horse closing in. And even if you had a lot of pace to close in on, I don't know if this horse has the talent and ability to close in on a pace with that caliber of horses. So skip number 7. Now, how am I going to bet this race? Well, the first thing is, should you even bet the race? I don't think you should. You know, I always try to say this. I don't, you know, it's one thing to put out these videos because they're big races. This is a Breeders' Cup prep race, essentially, winning your in race. But folks, y'all don't have to be betting all these just because they're well-known races. It doesn't mean you should bet it. I love claiming races, maiden claiming races, allowance races. That's where your prices usually come from. Chaotic races. Fields that are wide open that you can find some prices there. These stakes races, handicap races, especially grade 1 races, you don't find too many races worth playing except the big races, but everybody plays them, right? And people pay attention to these big races. So I don't think this race is really worth playing because honestly, it's Hot Rod Charlie's race to lose. I mean, you think about it, you got Hot Rod Charlie, Mandaloon, Following C's, even 3-1. You don't have much value here at all. That's why I'm going to try to find some value with Midnight Bourbon. If Hot Rod Charlie beats me again, that's what I'm expecting. As soon as I submit that wager, I'm going to say, yeah, Hot Rod beat me again. But that's all right. That's how you got to play it if you're going to bet it. Now, if you want to try to spruce things up a little bit, I'm thinking Hot Rod and Midnight Bourbon in the first position in your exactas, and then you put the 1, 4, 5, and 6 underneath. Try to get Midnight or Mandaloon out of there. But we'll see. You know, it's hard to do these videos and suggest exactas and say I'm going to play them until you see the probables and what they're paying. I would never say I'm going to play any of these exactas, except maybe with that 5 in the second position. That makes sense. So I'm going to be looking for a win bet on number 6, Midnight Bourbon. That's probably going to happen, especially if it's 7-2 or higher. And even though for the record, Hot Rod Charlie's probably going to win this race. And then I'm going to use Hot Rod Charlie and Midnight Bourbon on top in the exactas and have the 1 Following C underneath, 4 Hot Rod Charlie underneath, just in case Midnight Bourbon does win. Number 5, Picking Time, and number 6, Midnight Bourbon underneath. But again, I got to see the payouts, all right? All right, so that's how I see the Haskell. Who do you like in this year's Haskell? Go ahead and leave a comment below if you're even going to play this race. And again, check out Speed King. Subscribe to that channel, Speed King, and support what he's doing. And it's great for horse racing. Anybody that's, you know, campaigning and providing good content and try to get new fans in this game because we desperately need it. You know, so that's kind of why I started way back in 2014. I love the success Speed King has been getting. And a lot of these handicapping channels, it's not trying to be a tout and try to sell you picks and all this. No, just providing entertainment, trying to teach people how to handicap and enjoy the sport of horse racing. That's what it's about, and having some fun and making some money. All right. Until next time, this Weekend Handicapper from weekendhandicapper.com. Good luck if you play the Haskell. Good luck if you play Saratoga, Del Mar. It's a good time of year. Until next time, happy handicapping, smart wagering.